Bad news, 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 bad news. It's the Bad News Show.
There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Anything could happen. I'll watch the video later. Hey, climb up in this.
G'day there, hey, welcome to the Bad News Show. I'm Joey Only up here, Wells, BC, 3,935 feet above sea level, 53 degrees north. North is where things are reasonable, or less crazy. Gotta love the north, everybody, yeah. Some great reactions from yesterday's Bad News Show. I know I was concerned. Well, part of me was concerned that people in my town would get upset about the things I was saying, but the other half of me knew that none of them would watch it or listen to anything that I have to say, which is exactly why I'm so... Anyways, we'll see if we have time for that today. What's to talk about in the Bad News Show today? Big time snowstorms going on. It could be like a foot of snow falling in Louisiana this afternoon. So Texas has had its snow, big snow down there all along the Gulf Coast. So this is a real cool deal, this storm. Had a little bit of snow here in BC last night. Yeah, right here in Wells itself. Quesnel got a little bit of snow. But for us, it's not really going to be till Thursday that we see much of anything special. So let's have a look at some of the stories for the day. What do we got on the board today? Florida becomes the first state to use Gulf of America after Trump changed his name. I'm shocked that he didn't name it the Gulf of Trump, but an Arctic low pressure moving across the Gulf of America. So look at an official Florida weather warning read today. An official Florida weather warning has called this the Gulf of America. Let's have a quick look at the map here for a second. This is some pretty disrespectful shit, actually, when you think about it. I mean, here's the United States. It's this great big country, and one little corner of it there has some water next to it. It's got the Atlantic Ocean. I guess they're not going to call it the American Ocean because nobody would go for that. No, they're not going to call it the American Ocean over here. They got far more coastline on oceans, but no, they're going to steal Gulf of America. Gulf of America, they want to call it. I'm glad it still says on Google Earth Gulf of Mexico. There's still a little bit of common sense left out there in the world. Now look at Mexico. Look at Mexico itself. It's like this big country, and it's the entire length of it is subservient to the happenings of this Gulf that's called the Gulf of Mexico. And it just makes sense that you would call it the Gulf of Mexico. Like, it makes sense. Look at all of Mexico. It's like the whole country is. So it's some whack bullshit there where they're really trying to basically insult Mexico into having no self-respect. We'll go revisit yesterday just a little bit and talk about this. So I got a nice message from somebody here regarding what I was talking about yesterday about the preparedness for Wells and other towns like us and how little people are doing. And this person who, I'm not going to say his name because it doesn't really matter to you, but this person has trained a lot of firefighters, been very active in forest fires in the past, has been very active in trying to teach fire smarting and things like that. So he says, if everyone's yard is free of combustibles, then a shower of firebrands has nothing to ignite. Firebrands can land on a wooden deck and will just burn out there if there's any type of fine fuel to ignite. They can land all around the house but won't start a fire if the area is free of fine fuel or is green. Residents need to understand this and keep their properties cleaned of combustibles. Logan Lake survived a fire a couple years ago because the townsfolk organized themselves and fireproofed their community. Wells could be another Lytton, but it can be prevented. This is somebody who's been involved in forest fires for decades, mirroring what I'm saying, right? Because like I say things sometimes, and then I'm like, am I out to lunch? You know, I better check this before I really double down and stick with this, you know? So I send sometimes what I'm doing to people to get their approval or criticism, because I think that fact-finding or speaking out, you know, like I really am trying to have a measure of truth in what I'm saying, and I want it to be realistic, provable, understandable, and if it's not, I want to know that so I can either make adjustments or stop saying what I'm saying altogether. But no one's been able to, like I said, no one's been able to so far around here make me change my opinion. In fact, most of the people I've talked to have exactly mirrored what I've been saying, you know, their feelings and concerns about how, like I was saying yesterday, the Wells Fire Department evacuated, and I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with our community not having comprehensive plans. When you have a forest fire close to your town like we had last year, and a lot of evacuations and things that go, now the community activist in myself sees these like basic solutions that you start with, which is, well, we just had this collective experience. Maybe we should collectively get together and debrief or figure out what just happened. Hey, we got this community hall. You know what we could do, and this should have been done back in October or November when things were fresh in people's minds. We need to invite everyone to come and say what they experienced or what they felt or what worked or what didn't work. If they don't want to talk, they don't have to talk. If people want to talk, they can talk. We'll give everybody at least so much time, if they wish, to have their voices heard. We'll take some of the findings and try to apply them in the future. And we'll take some of the findings from this community meeting and try to make some direction for what we could do. Well, hey, there's a lot of people here saying that they'd like to be more involved in fire smarting. Hey, there's some people here with a lot of experience in fire saying they'd be happy to be part of a community effort to put up sprinklers in the future, or to establish hose lays in advance, or to help, have a list of who are equipment operators in town and what kind of machines we have here, because the time will come for a town like Wells, and maybe it will never come for Wells itself, but the time will come for a town like Wells in BC again very soon, where lightning sparks a fire up right there and everyone goes, holy shit, the wind and the fire behavior are enough to get it going. You say, well, we can't wait 1, 2, 3, or 4 hours for the British Columbia Wildfire Service to get here. It's different if you live close to Quesnel. We got base right there. If you live close to Williams Lake, you got a base right there, but we're an hour away here. Maybe they'll fly some guys out in time. Maybe they'll have a crew that's available, not already deployed somewhere, right? There's all these factors you have to imagine. There could be extreme fire behavior going on in other critical areas, and ministry has to respond to that. And when they do, suddenly you find, we got a fire here, call, and they're like, we got our resources everywhere. We'll get to you, but we need to move some things first. We don't have time for that. What's our community going to do? Well, if your own fire department evacuates and no one's even willing to call bullshit on that in the future, you might as well just kiss your homes goodbye if this kind of thing happens again. And we look at the flank of our town, we look at possibility of ENSO neutral conditions this fall or this summer, meaning we'll probably be into a very active thunderstorm season in BC. The question of how dry will it be is up in the air still. I'm not willing to make direct predictions yet, but the La Nina not sticking around isn't a good thing. It's not a good thing. We really have reason to be concerned already in January and start making our plans. And if people don't want to hear it, and kind of the attitude around here, I think, is like, well, they're trying, you're hurting their feelings. And, people aren't going to want to join the fire department if you talk it down, Joey. Well, fuck. Then people who are leadership in the community need to understand what I understand. If you make a fighting force has a chance of winning, people are like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I don't want to be a part of a team that can't win. I don't want to be in a fire department that has to go to someone's house and walk up to them and say, well, you're fucked, but we'll stand here and spray water on the outside. We could have gone in and got it, but we just didn't have our act together enough. We didn't. What started as a toaster fire burned your house down because it took us 30 minutes to get here, and we weren't organized and no one knew what to do. And I'm not saying that's exactly the case here, but there's been a lot of times it's been like that. We'll be talking more and more and more about this in the future. And I encourage you to watch my video from yesterday. Maybe you'll get a grasp of how much failure happened here. Now, we were lucky because the fire was in a direction that wasn't necessarily going to burn wells down. Barkerville was in some risk. And we have assets here that my property taxes pay for, fire trucks, gear, hoses, this and that. And if you're going to say to me, I'm a volunteer firefighter, I expect you to fucking volunteer when it's time to go, when it's the most important moment in our community's possible history, when that fire's coming and you are running instead of helping the crews from out of town who come here. What's the point of spending money on a brand new fire truck? What's the point of having new gear? What's the point of anything? If when it matters the fucking most, you all evacuated. Sorry. If I was running the fire department in this town, I wouldn't stand there and say, well, there's only 5 of us available. I guess we should just leave. Because I'd go into forest fires with a 5-man fucking crew every time. That's what I do. I'm a crew leader of 5 people. Sometimes 10, sometimes 20. If they bunch crews together. But I'm the leader of 5 firefighters. And we've done so much over the years. We've stopped fucking fires, man. 5 of us. If you know what you're doing, 5 is great. I don't have to worry about 15 people. Good, there's just us 5. Let's get tight and do it. Now, there needs to be levels of community organizing. Okay, next story. Look at this in New Orleans this morning. Imagine if American Meteorological Society meeting was going on today instead of last week. Snow falling even out into the Gulf of America. Today on the Gulf of America. Oh my God. And today in the Gulf of America, this is going on. So heavy snowfall for New Orleans. Heavy snowfall. Heavy snow. And it looks like we just had the end of a mesoscale discussion. So I was just about to read what that said. We got another one going on here. Yeah, the other mesoscale discussion is actually up in Lake Ontario. This is Waterton, New York. They call it Watertown because all the water comes from here onto them, as you see right now. It's falling as snow. Watertown is falling as snow right now. And other things we got, so the special weather statement for New York right now. But all the snow in New Orleans. New Orleans getting all the snow. Let's go have a look some more. Boof. What's going on over here? Yeah, boof in New Orleans. What about over in Texas? Over in Texas? No, it's mostly moved out of Texas now. Okay, so when I talk to Texas, I gotta not talk like an Australian, but it's hard for me because Canadians are more Australian than they are Texans. Of course, we're much more related. Look at that. So even Alabama, just like James Spann was saying, seeing some of that. What are we seeing there? Is that's all snow probably? Yeah, and some freezing rain on the contact point. Some freezing rain right now along in Pensacola and Gonzales and Molino and McDavid. McDavid, enjoy your suspension, you whiny, pouty baby. Over in Dawson, some freezing rain in Dawson. That's what's going on in America today. It's pretty much mass hysteria, dogs and cats playing together, children screaming, massive school shootings, people pile-ups on the highways, people screaming, neighbors fighting, and actually I'm seeing a lot of images of people outside playing in the snow and loving it, and wow, we never get snow, so there's the two sides. There's like the chaos that these things can, create, but I think a lot of times when you get places like down there and they're like, y'all, is the snow coming, y'all? And it's like, well, I ain't going out there, y'all. And it's going out there to snow there, all y'all, and just stay home, right? They don't know. Whereas in Canada, we're like, well, it's only a foot of snow. The boss still expects me to be on time. All right, next story. It's amazing to me the amount of people that are trying to tell me that this guy, this is just accident. They're like, well, if you just take a picture at any time, if you just take 1,000 pictures of someone, eventually their arm will be doing a Nazi salute. It's like eventually they will. It's no, the fact that his parents were Nazi party members, his grandparents there on his maternal grandmother's side, that doesn't mean anything to you. The fact that Trump just says this guy helped me steal an election doesn't mean anything to you. The fact that he himself says things that are full on fascistic in their nature. He thinks the rich should rule the world. This guy is a fucking Nazi. This is what's going on. You had a stage yesterday of Nazis standing there, of the oligarchs, the richest people in America, all standing there. And what happened on day one? Did your eggs go down in price? No, it didn't. America did anything fundamentally change? Although they named it the Gulf of America, that's going to make a big fucking difference. All the lies that they've been telling you. Did the war in Ukraine just end? No, it didn't. All these things, did inflation end? No. In fact, he stood up there and said he doesn't actually care. Trump doesn't actually care about inflation. So this is what you're up against, everybody. I don't get things like this. Don't let Musk's Nazi salute distract you from the fact Trump finally admitted Musk helped him steal the 2024 election. Now, why would you think these are two separate things? You got to love when non-weather people are starting to get it. It's like kind of scary when the weatherman is the closest thing to telling the truth on the news these days. And he's got a 50% chance, says Sidney Derrick, which I don't agree with, actually. The odds are not 50-50. Sometimes they're 80-20. Sometimes they're 20-80 or whatever, right? Depending. I mean, for me, generally, I'm not 50-50 right. If you've been watching me for a long time and follow me on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers, we do got some snow coming to BC later this week, and I think I'll make a video about that maybe separately tonight, just for the hell of it, just to try to, I'm trying to get more views on the channel. I need a lot more. Ever since Trump won, my views went going down. I went through several rounds of being under incredibly hostile attack from trolls, and it's related. It's all related. So, I'm saying, hey, if you got pro-democracy friends out there who are looking for something to watch in Canada, maybe send them on over. I would love to have more viewers here. Thanks to everybody who's supporting me, though. Derek, awesome Derek. People like Gert Erasmus, he supports me every month. Doesn't require much for me to go, wow, that guy is really, really awesome for me. Derek, who's been really awesome for me. There's microphones here because of him. This mic stand. Thank you very much, Derek. He bought himself a little drone. One of these little things. It's just a tiny little drone, and he tried to fly it, but he said, my hands are too old and it hurts like hell trying to fly the thing. I'm just going to give it to you. So I'm expecting next week sometime to have a drone show up in the mail. Now imagine what the mountaineering videos are going to be like next year. Imagine what my fishing videos will be like. Imagine what I can't take it out in the fire line, so get that out of your heads. However, imagine what it would be like for thunderstorm chasing. It's going to be so sweet, man. Going to have these drone shots. Get up over the hills, and it's like I can just set it up there and then like set it to float, hopefully. It's like just float there and face the storm, and then I can be filming down here. It's like there's a whole new level of video coming to the Joey Only experience here, friends, and all your support is helping keep the improvements keep happening in this channel because of all your help, and I cannot be thankful enough. Okay, let's get on with the next story. Okay. In Canada today. So some snowfall up in the north coast there, including Stewart. 20 centimeters expected there. A frontal system passing through Wednesday. Snowfall amounts to 20 centimeters. This guy's going to bring some snow into BC. This will be the guy that we got some talking to do. Maybe tonight I'll make a separate weather forecast video and give you a little bit of the updates. I'm sorry about the beeping out there, but our so Wells is really good about one thing. We've been cleaning our own streets now for a long time. Eric Anderson's company's running that. 10 to 20 centimeters in the Cypress Hills into Wednesday. Southern Manitoba, just south of Winnipeg, blowing snow advisory, 60-kilometer-an-hour winds. We got minus 40 wind chill value still in northern Ontario, maybe up to 45 below. Up into James Bay, Hudson Bay, looking at maybe minus 50. Along the coast of Lake Superior, snow squall warnings up towards Terrace Bay. Could see 15 to 50 centimeters there this evening through Wednesday. Unbelievable snowfall in Ontario nonstop. 15 to 50 centimeters for the warning there in Agawa Bay. Down towards Sault Ste. Marie, looking at only 5 to 10 centimeters. So, but 50-kilometer-hour winds gusting there. Go up along the up to Manitoulin, 15 to 30 centimeters. Bruce Peninsula, extreme cold warning for you. Down to minus 35 through parts. So Toronto, looking at maybe, is this going to happen? It is. Look at that. Toronto is now in the extreme cold warning. It's getting to minus 35 in downtown Toronto, quite possibly. The Arctic air mass bringing bitterly cold winds to the area. This will kill people. This will put homeless people in the grave. I can't say enough. The next time they'll be warm is when their bodies are being thrown in the incinerator. This is happening. Southern Ontario, all the way down through that lower section of Western Ontario there. So everywhere near London, everywhere west of Hamilton, you're looking right towards Windsor, as low as minus 35. Unbelievably cold. I don't know how often they see temperatures like that in that part of Ontario. I would think I know when I lived in Ontario, we generally expected, like, if you even got south of Highway 7 much, and you can, here it's kind of opposite. Highway 7 corridor up to Algonquin, that's my country where I grew up. That's out of the warning zone. I'm sure it's quite cold there, but wind chill values of minus 50 in northern Quebec. And of course, if we go over to the East Coast, extreme cold warning going on there still up in Gaspésie, minus 38. Holy shit balls, and all on the St. Lawrence there. 60 kilometer squalls, winds, and whatnot, 10 to 15 centimeters there for Newfoundland. And then you got some snow squall watches there where you can see 20 centimeters of snow for you guys to into the night. So ridiculously cold out in the prairies this weekend. Here's my buddy Hank Vleestra. He's part of the Meteorological Report. Yesterday we had Justin on. If you don't know what the Meteorological Report is because you're new to the channel here, the Meteorological Report is comedy meteorology report we do every Thursday night here in the channel with the world famous Frankie McDonald. We do air on radio stations, TV stations, and on all your podcast streaming platforms, but we're also live here on Joey on the Caribbean Weather Dude YouTube channel. So do me a favor and be a part of our amazing podcast experience. We always have storm chasers Frankie McDonald, radio weatherman Brandon Hauk, meteorologist Mark Engels, Chris Calais, Justin from Weather Center in Manitoba, Hank Vleestra right here.
Extremely cold out here. Wind chill is nearly minus 40 and will be beyond minus 40 overnight. And I'm out for a walk anyway. Oh, cooped up in there.
And a whole host of other people that we like to have on the show. Yeah, that's what our show. It's what we do, the Meteorological Report. Okay, let's find our next topic. So we're looking at visible because most of this happened overnight last night, so we don't want to spend too much time at it. This guy is the guy that when this storm here, it really looks like it did on the models, It really just kind of cleaved right down there from some sort of upper level flow that is some jet that's not letting it escape, right? So it's being compressed down in this area, and it's going to follow this guy on out, and that means it's probably going to head straight for the United Kingdom there. So nice and warm temperatures out there in the prairies there for guys like Hank Vleestra. Enjoy after a cold weekend you just had. Don't worry, there'll be more. A little bit of a low pressure system there trying to form in Alberta right now. And you can see this active streak of weather coming at the BC coast right now. A little bit atmospheric river-like, a little bit. Yeah, most definitely a little bit atmospheric river-like. And someone was asking me today, do atmospheric rivers become more prevalent with a warming planet? And the answer for me is yes. Despite the fact that we may have a warmer planet than ever, but look at how warm it is up into the Arctic right now. That's why our cold air is being displaced. That's why all this cold air is coming down into eastern Canada, into the United States, making for so much snow, because this is too warm. It's too warm in the Arctic right now. How warm is too warm? Well, I don't know. I'm having a really hard time today with everything. Minus 15 in the north, right? So it's minus 4.6 right now. So that's good. Good for us. But you can see all that Arctic air going way up into the far north. Minus 15. That's much warmer than you would want to see it up there right now. Minus 31. That's more representative as to what you expect in the north. What's going on in Siberia? 48 below. That's all. No big deal. Just 48 below. No big deal. Okay. So the question is, Joey, does climate change make storms stronger? And as we know, there's no sunlight up there. There's no diurnal heating for the day. There's no process to warm the Arctic through the wintertime, right? And there's our storm down there moving through the south. So what happens is, you see this long ribbon here. What happens is we got more warmth to play with right now. If we were to look at ocean temperatures, it would very much mirror this. But you can see this warm plume of air right here coming up into this part of BC, 10 degrees out there. 10-degree air coming off the ocean right now, okay? So that warmer air is reaching far north, and it's interacting with this cold air that just happens to be up there in abundance and ready to go. However, what that's doing is it's making warmer temperatures in the Arctic, and that Arctic air is getting displaced and sent down to the States right now, and that's making for this nor'easter here that's affecting Atlantic Canada. That's making for this strong storm that by Wednesday morning will pretty much depart the United States and begin its shot-putting action across over towards the United Kingdom and Europe. I can see BC looking a little snowy to start in the north in the next day. So I guess the point I'm trying to make about all this is when you have more heat in the system, it will find cold weather. It will make for stronger mid-latitude cyclones. And what does a strong mid-latitude cyclone look like? It doesn't look like this. That's not a very strong one. But this guy here would be a good representative. It doesn't have an atmospheric river tail on it at the time, right? But you can see that the comma shape, because you got the cold, dry slot feeding on one side, and you got the warm, moist slot on this side. They wrap in around together, and that's what's feeding and churning the storm, making it spin and making it angry, right? So when you have more heat into the system, you're going to get stronger storms. And what's going to happen? Well, you see at times this week, what happens is it gets compressed by, we got high pressure here, we got high pressure there, and so it's got nowhere to go. So you get stronger mid-latitude cyclones, and of course strong cyclones have always happened out in the North Pacific. I'm not pretending that's not the case. But I think if you look across planet Earth as a whole and start to look at what's going on for the strength of mid-latitude cyclones, you'd start to see that there's a trend. There's a trend of storms increasing in strength and power. So looking at BC, so I've just seen that snow has started to accumulate in Pensacola. We're having snowfall records being broken down there in the States today. That's what's happening. This Arctic air mass getting displaced all the way down there and making for some bad weather up there. Well, it's only minus 15 up towards the North Pole. So Thursday morning, some heavier snow up here in the Caribbean Mountains and North Rockies. Looking forward to it. McBride, expect that. Maybe Prince George and Quesnel, Williams Lake get a little bit. For you, that nice little band there will make its way through West Caribou. Even looks like Stewie and Bella Coola. Going to see some of that snow finally tear. So you've taken quite a bit lately, so you're no stranger to that. Down into Revelstoke by the afternoon. We're not looking at heavy snow totals. No, this isn't heavy snow, but it could be enough to make the roads a little bit slippery and whatnot for you. And as it lingers its way on out through the afternoon on Thursday, and after that, the most part, you're looking through the prairies, line of snow for you through there. Oh, I'm just having a terrible time trying to get a weather video fucking shot today. Everything's being clunky and slow and weird. That high pressure dominating off the coast, that's going to keep us dry for a little while longer here. While this little low up there heading into Hudson Bay will distribute some of that snow, and you can see that kind of same tail I was talking about. You know, that's not an atmospheric river, no, but it's the comma of the tail, and it's the comma that makes the atmospheric river when it gets self-organized. So looking at this weekend being still pretty nice and clear for southern BC. High pressure dominating, high pressure dominating, high pressure dominating, high pressure dominating into Monday, hitting hard up into the Gulf of Alaska. Probably going to slide down. Look at that. Strong storm up through all northern parts of the Yukon. Still not looking like snow coming by next week. So the models seem to be teasing us. Oh, look at that storm, though. If we get this guy next week, that's a week away, so I'm not going to guess at it. So not looking great for precipitation for BC for the next little while, and we need the precip. We need the precip. What about our storm that we had over here? Whatever did happen to it? We'll just rewind quickly and look at that. 946 low hitting into... Wow, that's going to be absolute chaos for the UK. Up towards Norway coming in the weekends a little bit, but gonna feel the effects. So this, and you can see that reaching, the effects of that reaching into. So this is a storm. When I said continents, I was suspected that we were talking even parts of Asia. Yeah, even parts of Asia getting affected, and here comes the next one after that getting launched off. So our weather here in BC helped make these storms that absolutely pounded into Europe. That's going to be really, that's going to be a story itself. So big stories today on the board. But I'm going to make a whole other forecast video because I've been having a hell of a time just trying to get shit happening here today. Okay, that's the show. Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. Please hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Come back again, my friends. It's the morning time right now. It'll be the afternoon when this comes out. So keep in mind that when I'm showing temperatures, they're not current for you because this is not a live show. It's pre-recorded. Okay, that's all the support is welcome and thanked. I'm thankful for it. Thanks everybody. All you patrons, all you super channel, all your super donors, and and all, channel members and things. You're the ones that are keeping me going, all the donations. You're the ones that have helped this channel survive the hard times. Thank you very much for that. Okay, bye now.